Hello and welcome to the Morning Update. I'm Tina Quinn. It's been an anxious night for residents anticipating major flooding in southeast Queensland following ex-cyclone Alfred. River levels in Ipswich, west of Brisbane, were expected to peak above the major flood level, but the threat has eased overnight. The storm is continuing to dump heavy rain on many areas around Queensland and New South Wales as residents begin to clean up and assess the damage. Australian Federal Police knew a caravan laden with explosives was sitting by a road on the outskirts of Sydney months ago, but they didn't tell their state counterparts. Authorities have confirmed it was all part of a criminal con job and a fabricated plot. The Telegraph claims the AFP found out about the van in early January, but they didn't pass any information on to New South Wales Police. Former Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull has fired back at Donald Trump after the US president called him a weak leader on social media. Speaking to the ABC, Mr Turnbull described Trump as a bully and says Australia and other countries need to stand up to him.
Trump wants people to suck up to him and to be sycophantic. And I have dealt with Trump in the past. I mean, the fact is, I stood up to Trump and got him to do things he didn't want to do because I wasn't being bullied by him.
Meanwhile, the US has made a shock announcement that it's cutting 83% of all aid programs. Over 5,000 contracts will be torn up, with Secretary of State Marco Rubio saying that the agreements spent billions of dollars in ways that didn't serve the core national interests of America. Staying in the US, and stocks have plunged amid further uncertainty over tariffs after President Trump said he's not ruling out a recession. The Dow is down almost 2.5%, the Nasdaq almost 5%, and the S&P 500 suffered its biggest drop since 2022, down just over 3%. A large emergency response is underway off the UK coast after an oil tanker and cargo ship collided, sparking a huge fire. More than 30 people are believed to be injured and have been brought to shore. The UK Coast Guard says it's monitoring for any potential environmental impacts the incident may have. This is the moment the local Coast Guard issued a distress call to notify other vessels in the area.
So Long has collided with tanker Stena Immaculate in the outer anchorage. Both vessels are abandoning. Vessels who have firefighting equipment or who can assist with search and rescue, contact Humber Coast Guard on Channel 16.
Ukraine's President Volodomyr Zelensky has arrived in Saudi Arabia ahead of talks with the US that could lead to a peace deal with Russia. Mr Zelensky will not participate directly in today's talks, but has stressed his commitment to peace. The head of the UN's Relief Agency for Palestinians has warned that a hunger crisis could return to Gaza if Israel keeps preventing aid deliveries. Philippe Lazzarini says continually blocking basic assistance violates international law. Returning home, and the West Australian opposition is calling for a parliamentary inquiry into Saturday's state election, claiming some voters may have been disenfranchised from casting a ballot. Opposition leader Shane Love says an inquiry into alleged shortcomings at the Electoral Commission should be the first order of business for the new parliament, following reports of staff and ballot shortages. Updating sport, and Parramatta star Dylan Brown has announced he'll leave the NRL club at the end of the season, signing a monster 10-year deal with Newcastle. Brad Scott is expected to stay on as Bombers coach. He's already contracted for next AFL season, but is expected to extend that another year. Buffalo Bills quarterback Josh Allen has signed a $500 million extension to 2030, making him one of the highest paid players in NFL history. And West Ham will host Newcastle this morning in the EPL. In entertainment, the director of Meghan Markle's new Netflix series has opened up about his experience with her following reports she's been difficult to work with. Michael Steed says the Duchess of Sussex is someone who is constantly hustling and working. Another staffer says she was warm and approachable and made everyone feel included. And that's the latest from the Nova podcast team. We'll see you this afternoon for another episode of The Update.